So hey everyone, welcome to the second volume of Gardening Terms. If you missed the first one, I will link that down in the description below. But today we're going to be talking about 8 different gardening terms that maybe you don't know. If you do, I will also put timestamps down in the description so you can skip to ones that you are curious about. And I always like to say there are no such thing as dumb questions. At one time, I didn't know myself, so I either had to ask or research it. So hang out with me today while we learn some gardening terms and get you informed. Mulch. Mulch is a layer of material that you put on the top of the ground, and it helps with weed suppression and it helps with watering. This is just your basic bark dust or bark mulch, but there are many different types of mulches that you can use. Some of them are organic in nature and some of them are inorganic. So we're going to show you what they are. So this right here is also cedar chip mulch. You can use grass clippings. These are another form of organic matter. You can just put these right on and they'll decompose into the ground. It eventually breaks down and does feed your soil. Straw is another good example of mulch, as are wood shavings and even leaves. Now we're going to talk about a few that are inorganic. Weed mat is a good example of an inorganic. Gravel is also one, as well as, sorry, my daughter's hound dog is screaming, but as well as you will see many playgrounds will have a shredded rubber material, and that is also a mulch. Next up is compost. Now this is a compost pile, so it is the beginnings of what I will eventually show you it turns into. And compost is simply organic matter that has been broken down over time to form a nice, rich, nutrient-dense product that you can mix into your soil to feed it. This is another example of a form of compost. This is actually bagged steer manure, and you can see how it's just decomposed and it's turned into a nice fluffy organic matter. And this here is another example of compost. This was just delivered from our local, it's called Recology. It's where a lot of people take their yard waste and debris and they shred it all up. They cook it for a while and turn it into compost. So all of this stuff I use everywhere around here by mixing it again into my soil to amend it and feed it good bacteria and good nutrients. Okay, so succession. Succession planting is when you have a variety of plant that maybe is a very quick to grow and complete its life cycle plant, or you have one like these sunflowers here. These are made specifically for cut flowers. So what they do is they grow and they produce one bloom per stem. So I need to plant a batch of seeds every week, and that way that ensures that I constantly have more sunflowers to cut. Cilantro is another one where it grows very quickly and it tends to bolt and go to seed quickly. So if you plant new ones, you will continually have cilantro to harvest. So succession will be, I will plant these this week, then I will plant another batch next week, another batch the next week, and another batch the next week. And you will keep doing this for as long as you want to continue getting a harvest and as long as you have enough days left before your frost. So I'm going to show you an example of the sunflowers that I have already done in my succession. We're starting here with the seeds, and we're going to kind of work backwards because I've already done several successions. So this here is one of the succession plantings that I planted a couple weeks ago. And then down here in the field, I have already planted one of my first successions. If you're new to gardening and you're not sure what hardening off means, it just means taking plants that have been in a secured environment and protected from direct sun and the harsh elements of the outside, and you slowly acclimate them. 2 to 3 hours the first day, 3 to 4 hours the next day, 5 to 6 hours the next day, and then out in the sun all day. And yesterday they were actually out in the sun all day, but we had a partially overcast day. And today is going to be nice and sunny, so these will be fully hardened off to where I can just leave them out all day and all night. Determinate. It means that a plant has a limited growth habit so that it stops growing once it reaches its predetermined size. Then it usually sets all of its fruit at once and then it dies. So how you can kind of tell here, a lot of seed packets will say, some do not, but if it doesn't say if it's a determinate, like this one right here, you can see it says determinate. So this plant will grow to a certain size, it will set on all of its tomatoes, and then it will die. This one does not specifically say determinate, but it says container variety, and container varieties do have to stay within the confines, so that would indicate that that is also a determinate. And this bush tomato also lets you know. Now an indeterminate, it means that there's no set size or no set fruit amount. It will just continue to grow and produce more fruit until it's actually killed by frost. And these two, you don't see anything on the front, but if you turn the seed packet over, it will tell you right here that it has indeterminate vines. And this one as well, when we turn it over, it has indeterminate vines. And what that means is it will just keep growing and growing. So if you have something that you want to keep in a confined space and you don't want it to grow and sprawl all over the place, you want to go with a determinate type. If you have unlimited space and you would like to have fruit set all the way up until frost, then you would want to get an indeterminate type. Next, we're going to be talking about heirloom. And an heirloom is a plant variety that's been passed down from generations, and it generally is at least 50 years. They're open pollinated, so what that means is that it's natural. It's pollinated by the wind or by insects. And then the seeds that are produced have the same characteristics as a parent plant. So when you save seeds one year and plant them the next year, it's going to be true to form. You're going to get that same plant. So a lot of times seed companies will say that it's an heirloom seed. Seed Savers Exchange has heirloom seeds. This one is one that you just kind of get. I believe this came from the dollar store, and it says right in the front of the package that it's an heirloom variety. And this cardinal basil came from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. So if you are interested in saving seeds because you like the particular fruit or vegetable that you're growing, make sure that you get an heirloom variety. Now, a hybrid is a plant that is produced by a deliberate crossing of two distinct varieties of the same species. So in this case, it would be the crossing of two different varieties of corn. And it has to be in a controlled pollination in order to get those desired traits from each of the parent plant. So this one right here, you can see it clearly says on here that it's a hybrid. So if you were to plant this corn, let it dry at the end of the season and save the seeds, and then plant it again the next year, you would not get the exact same corn. You would either get something that's stronger to one of the varieties or the other. A lot of times they're still good and they're still edible, but you just won't get the same one that you purchased the original seeds from. And hybrids were developed because they wanted ones where they could take maybe a disease resistance from one parent plant and a really good fruit set or seed set from another plant and combine those into one plant. So that's where you get the hybrid from. So a hybrid will not come back true to form if you save the seeds and try to plant them the next year. So hopefully you found the second round of gardening terms helpful, and if you did, we would love to have you subscribe. We do all kinds of fun stuff around here: gardening, animals, canning, and baking. And I always try to put in helpful tips and tricks if I have them. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.